Hello, loves. Hello, hello. It's Hills here from the Blue Flame Apothecary. How is everyone doing? We have some amazing, and I'm not gonna try and sugarcoat it too much. Intense energies coming through right now. This Gemini new moon and the solstice that follows a few days later is really keying us in on the overall energetic template of the next couple of months. And there's a quote attributed to Rumi that has been feeling really powerful. And it's how we're going to bring ourselves into this energy. It is not to seek for love, but to go within and seek all of those barriers that you have built against it. Now I'm paraphrasing that a little bit, but that's, translations from ancient Sumerian. So let's explore this a little bit. We have, as our birthright as human beings, love. We have hearts. We have big, beautiful hearts that are so filled with love and light that the electromagnetic field of our heart is greater than any other field within our body. It is much bigger than the electromagnetic field of our brains, and it actually feeds the entire electromagnetic field of our emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical bodies. Love is the deepest truth that we can ever access about who we are. Excuse me. Let's feel that. Love is the deepest truth we can ever access about who we are. So, as much as I love to talk about soul missions and soul paths and soul journeys and soul purposes, soul groups and lineages, all of these things, they are also true. They are beautiful, and they are part of what lights me up, helping be that Hecate and hold the torch at the crossroads for everyone. However, at the core, the kernel of the seed of all of this is love. What the poem, the quote that's attributed to Rumi here is saying is exactly that. It is not that we need to seek within ourselves and try and find love, because the love is there. The love is there. It is always there. We are beings. We are expressions of light. We are souls embodied in physical form. We are literally love walking around in bodies. That's what we are. So what we're saying then, Rumi and I guess, is that it's not the love that we're seeking. It is all of the barriers, all of the walls that we've built up against being able to access that truth about ourselves. And that's what this cycle feels like to me. A few hours before the new moon peaks, which is happening on the 17th. It might be the 18th, depending on your time zone, because it's pretty late in the evening on the Pacific coast, in the Pacific time zone. So for a lot of you who are watching this, you're probably going to experience it on the 18th. A few hours before, Saturn the Lord of karma and time, our structures and our foundations, that which we build upon, is going to turn around in Pisces and start moving backwards. Saturn is going to be retrograde from the 17th of June straight through to the 4th of November. Over the course of that time, Saturn is going to move from the 7th degree of Pisces, where they now reside, all the way back to the 0 degree of Pisces. And they're not going to tip back into Aquarius. At that 0 degree, turn around and start moving forward again. What this means from an energetic perspective is that we are being given an opportunity over these next few months to review everything that we have built, all that has been built since Saturn entered Pisces at the beginning of March. To go within and seek everything that's been built. It also is giving us an opportunity. Pisces is connected to the higher heart. So it's giving us an opportunity to really get internal, to get into our higher hearts and explore any barriers, any walls, any structures that have been erected that do not serve us anymore. And there's a friend helping Saturn with this job. Pluto, who's been retrograde for about a month now, just tipped back over into the 29th degree of Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. The 29th degree is a powerful degree. Whenever you're at the beginning, the 0 degree, or the 29, the end degree of a sign, the energy of that sign is amplified. Pluto tears down and reveals secrets. Pluto says, that's not true anymore. Get rid of it. So Pluto has moved backwards to the 29 degree of Capricorn just before Saturn begins retrograding back through all of the ground that has been traveled since March of this year, 2023. Giving us time and giving us the framework to get even more deeply into the space of our higher heart, to get even more deeply into the space of our higher heart. As Capricorn says, oh, I see that structure. Yeah, you're right, that's not true anymore. Let me help you get rid of that. Let me help you demolish, tear down those walls. We don't need them. This brings me to another piece. Why would we have erected these walls in the first place, right? There's a Beatles song that has been playing in my head ever since I started writing bringing through and writing the cosmic light drops and really pulling in the energies of this cycle. There'll be a link below for cosmic light drops if that calls. The song is Hide Your Love Away. And the entire song speaks to a person, heart in hand, saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. And all of these people laughing and saying, no, 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 you've got to hide that, you've got to hide that. And the way that it came through as I was channeling through the newsletter, the cosmic light drops, and the way that I'm feeling it now is this was a tool. This was a tool. We were told that if we revealed our true, full emotional nature, that it would be weaponized against us. That if we shared the full breadth of our sensitivity, of our love, of our light, it would be that very thing that someone would then turn around and ridicule us for, that would turn around and use it as a sword against us. We are taught this from a young age. Don't show your feelings. Don't show your grief. Don't show your anger. Don't show your laughter. Don't show your joy. Don't show your effervescence. Don't show your love. This breaks my heart. This absolutely destroys me. Because as opposed to our love being weaponized against us, the true weapon was being told not to share it. If you want to overpower or have dominion over someone, what better way than to make them fear their innate truth? What better way than to tell them, if you are your full expression of self, you will be punished. You will be hurt. You will be isolated. You will be alone. When in fact, it is the very act of shutting down, of building these barriers against love, that creates this fear, that creates the sense of separation. The love never went anywhere, and our beings have never been separate from one another. They're all connected in that space. But we have this idea that's been implanted into us that it is dangerous to share that love, to share that light, and that we should fear and mistrust others who do so. Oh, just, it slays me. It's so exactly the opposite. When we share our true soul purpose and our true soul light, that glow, that divine light, one way you could see it is like old Renaissance era paintings where wisdom is shown through a golden halo of light around the head and through a beautiful halo of light around the heart space. They were reminding us, we were reminding ourselves that this is actually our truth. I'm being invited to ask you to explore what it feels like for you when you see someone fully living their truth, fully living and embracing their love. When you see, it's coming in like a television personality, an actor, an actress, a pop singer, someone who is out there, like fully on the world stage, and they can be in any way, fully on the world stage. Hell, I am on the world stage. I'm posting this on YouTube. Anyone on the planet can see it. And I am living as close as I can get in every moment to love, the truest expression of love that I can access at any moment, and the truest expression of my soul purpose, which are the same thing. So when you see a brilliant, huge smile and the person is glowing and you can feel that glow around them, do you want to shame and ridicule them, or do you say, I'll have what she's having, I'll have what they're having? Right? So this idea, this illusion, this veil that has been erected around us of our love, our light, our truth, our divine birthright being dangerous, is falling away. It's falling away. we are beginning to remember the deeper truth. You're beginning to remember the deeper truth. So, as Saturn and Pluto, they're not in, technically in aspect to one another during this new moon, although there is some really fun stuff going on. Let's feel where the map wants to take us. Where does this cosmic blueprint want us to go? We're going to go to the new moon itself. This new moon is happening at 26 degrees of Gemini. That's where the sun and moon will connect with one another, which means almost exactly across the wheel from the Galactic Center, which is at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. Playing a little game, connecting our outward expression of self, our soul self, the sun, to our unconscious and our subconscious states of being. That's the lunar energy. And I heard something that just made my whole being light up yesterday that I'm going to share with you now. The reason that Luna gets to be both our unconscious and our subconscious is because there's one side that is always facing the earth, that's the unconscious, and there's another side, the dark side of the moon we call it, that is always facing away from us, and that's the subconscious. That's the harder area to access. On a new moon, that side is also right on top of the sun. So we are being given that access point that we usually don't have access to, right? The sun and the moon are in the same place, which means that the entire brilliance of the sun, rather than reflecting upon it, is actually penetrating through it, like an eclipse. This is part of why new moons are such powerful rebirthing energies, because our light, our soul light, the stellar light that radiates and helps us grow, is penetrating all the way through our unconscious and our subconscious, giving us access to those places that we usually have a harder time accessing. This is a brilliant way to be able to explore the barriers that maybe we've built up against love around our heart, around our being, because it's usually traumas that helped create those walls. Now I'm getting Pink Floyd and it's another brick in the wall. So the sun and moon in Gemini are centers of expression and communication, the messenger planet, which is also in Gemini, Mercury, though not conjunct the sun and moon. And sitting directly across from the Galactic Center, which is the bright light at the center of our galaxy within which the black hole resides. So it connects us to our full galactic nature and to the depths within us. The brightest light and the darkest shadow. And the sun and moon connect there with that energy. And this is actually a mutable Grand Cross. Because we have Neptune in this long running, and I've talked about this already, I'll put some links below, long running square with the Galactic Center. This is going to go well into 2024, almost a little bit into 2025, I think even. This is a long running aspect. It's going to pull away and get closer and pull away and get closer until Neptune finally shifts out of Pisces. I think that happens in early 2025. This square is helping us break down the veils. Neptune is very shamanic, master of illusion, but helps us to pull back the curtain, And so in this square, we could feel some confusion, but part of the confusion is like when Dorothy sees the feet under the curtain. It's like, wait a minute. I came all this way and it turns out that you're just like me. Can you feel that? Like that at first letdown because you want it to be so much greater than you are. And then you realize it's that the illusion was that. When in fact the truth is that all of us are the same. All of us are the same. So now we have this T square, and then Ceres, Demeter, who's the harvest energy, is over in Libra. I've talked quite a bit about Ceres and Libra. Ceres's energy has been there for a while. A lot of this energy is about coming into a greater sense of balance and a greater relationship. That's Libra energy with what we consume. And this is not simply the food that we eat and the water that we drink, but also that. It is our relationships in general. Those who we commune with, those places where we get our information. Everything that we consume. Everything. The books that we read, the clothes that we wear, the conversations that we have, coming into right relationship and a balanced relationship with that. Can you feel how if we start to realize that we are all Dorothy and we are all the wizard, this is bringing us into a greater state of balance? If we remember that we are all actually love at the core, every single being that you encounter is love, is light, is stellar, is multidimensional, multifaceted, genius, gorgeous effervescence. Well, what is there left to separate us from one another then? So there's all this energy. Can you start to feel how there's all this energy? We've got Saturn starting to move backwards. We've got Pluto tearing down structures in Capricorn. Then we have this mutable grand cross giving us access to the wool that's been pulled over our eyes. And mutable energy is the end. It is the end of a season. It is the end of a cycle. It is when we say no more. It's time to shift into the new. It makes me happy. I'm like, yes, I know that the demo is hard. The demo is hard. Going through this phase that's gonna last the next few months probably and just get louder, where all that we thought was true, that we've been told was true, that so much of it isn't true, that it's a house of cards. It's the foundation is rotted. Everything is seeping and oozing. I'm just getting all of these like visualizations of like the worst haunted house that you've ever seen in a movie, where the house is literally just like pulsating with disease. That is so much of the structures and the foundations that we've created. And that is the part that's falling away. If you've ever seen the original Poltergeist movie from the 80s, the end of the movie, the entire house gets sucked into a portal of its own light and it blinks out of existence. But it doesn't completely disappear. There's this beautiful light that stays with the energy. And that is like a purification. The house was corrupt. It needed to be taken out. It needed to be deconstructed so that the light within it could emerge out and start to build the new from there. Now, we're very lucky because we don't actually have to completely destroy everything. The way that the energy has been feeling to me is, I keep using the term localized cataclysms. Localized cataclysms. Where something is out of alignment, where something is not true, something will happen. A catalyzing factor will clear out that energy, and the new will start to, and probably already has started to rise from the debris, from the dust, from the ash that was generated by that wrecking ball. And because part of what we're learning is that time is an illusion, our relationship to time anyways, the moment the wrecking ball hits is not when the building starts, because the building of the new is connected into that space where it already exists. So we may see it rising up from the dust of the wrecking ball, of the collapsed building, when in fact it is simply reassembling itself to that higher timeline where it already exists in the new. Oh, Spirit is guiding us some fun places today. That's where we're gonna go next, actually, is this new. We have all this loud demo that's gonna be coming. The term I often use is the falling and crashings of man. There is a cycling out, and that is going to be happening. We'll be able to, most of us can probably already see it and feel it. The new is also happening. The new is also being built. And part of our jobs, most of us, if you're watching this video, likely it's a very, very prominent part of your job, is the bringing in, the holding space for that new energy, holding the space open for that new energy. Over the next month, as we move through the solstice, and into the month of July, the early part of July, the first half, we have Pluto still in this T-square with the lunar nodes, the north node and the south node, our collective destiny line. The nodes are at the 1 degree of Taurus and Scorpio, respectively. Over the next 2 weeks, they are going to retrograde back into Aries and Libra. So we'll have a north node Aries. Aries is the beginning of the chart, astrologically. It's the beginning of the astrological and the Persian New Year. Excuse me. It is all about the new, bring in the new, and it's very fiery about it. Like, it's time, let's go. As the north node shifts into the 29th degree of Aries, and the south node into the 29th degree of Libra, helping us feel into our connections, how we used to relate to one another, and to mine the gold from that space, and to let the rest fall away. Pluto will still be at the 29th degree of Capricorn, bringing the tear down, helping with that south node energy, right? At that moment when, I love this, when the nodes tip over into the 29th degree, making the exact T-square with Pluto, Hecate hits the 29th degree of Cancer, holding her torch in a cardinal grand cross with the nodes in Pluto, exact, in the sign of belonging, helping us remember the family that we truly belong to. And cardinal energy is all about the new. It's This is what we get to build together. Let that shit fall away. It makes me really happy. We'll talk more about that because it's just getting tighter. And I have a feeling as we come to the Sirius gateway, 7-7, when the sun and Sirius meet in conjunction, this is going to be a big theme of that. I want to put a pin in it though, because it's such a beautiful energy and it's already online. This is part of what I was talking about, right? It may not be exact yet, but where Hecate is starting to come into that place, and where the nodes and Pluto are, that's already a T-square. That one's been running since we came out of the eclipse season. There's a lot more that I could talk about. Sedna has just shifted into Gemini at the 0 degree, shifting into our centers of communication and expression, someplace that asteroid has not been. Sedna travels all the way out to the Oort cloud, the farthest reaches of our solar system, and then makes her way back with that information. And in some ways, she feels like that messenger of the gods, connecting us in. So how beautiful is it that she came into the sign of communication and expression as we're moving to this new moon that is conjunct in opposition to the Galactic Center, bringing our true galactic, our true stellar nature and those light codes back to us. There's all kinds of stuff going on in Leo with Venus and Mars and Black Moon, Lilith, and Pallas. It's a really epic cycle. This, like I said, yes, there's loud and there's pain and there's movement out. There's grief, and let that move through you. Part of allowing your love to be expressed, to be witnessed, to be felt, is also allowing the parts of you that experience pain and grief, anger, like to allow the fullness in a healthy way of your emotions to move through you. You don't have to say, I am anger. You can say, that made me angry. What about that made me angry? Find the truth within these emotions, right? I could go on and on and on. There's so much. I am really excited because tomorrow morning I'm leaving for Mount Shasta. I'm going to spend the new moon and the solstice there. I'll be facilitating the Blue Flame Members Portal New Moon Circle from Shasta, actually. If you are called to join us, there will be a link below for the portal. It's Patreon, so there's membership tiers, and the initial tier is only $7 a month, and you get all of the new moon circles and the meditations and everything. Accessibility is very important to me. Speaking of which, I also have the soul path explorations and light activations, the guided journeys on your soul path. This is an amazing time to come into access, a greater access, a truer access to your unique gifts, your unique light, and how you're meant to express it into the world. If that calls, if you want to consult, links will be below. The solstice itself feels like where we're going to close this energy update. And I have a feeling I'll have another one up from Shasta, but who knows? There's going to be a lot going on there. I'm so blessed. I feel so gratitude. Every year, when the sun tips over from Gemini to Cancer, we have the solstice. It's usually on the 21st of June. In the northern hemisphere, that's the summer solstice. In the southern hemisphere, it's the winter solstice, but it is always the solstice, whether it's the longest day or the longest night. on this day, as the sun shifts from Gemini to Cancer, Sol is also exactly conjunct the star Betelgeuse in the constellation of Orion. This is very interesting. The last couple of years, Betelgeuse has been behaving unusually. We have known for a very long time, that Betelgeuse is ready, getting ready to go supernova, that it will go supernova. Back in the 90s, when I thought I was going to be an astrophysicist for a brief moment and was taking classes for that, I had this sense of, they would tell me this and I would be like, I'm going to get to see Betelgeuse go supernova in my lifetime, even though they were telling me, it's thousands of years away. And many scientists still believe that it's thousands of years away. However, just last night, I stumbled upon an article, and the behavior of Betelgeuse over the last couple of years, it's really sped up since 2020, is an indication that this star could go supernova at any moment. All of the calculations that they're doing at this point are indicating that it is possibly imminent. Now, this imminent in scientific cosmic realms could mean it's 20 years away. It could mean it's 100 years away. It could still mean it's thousands of years away. Or it could happen in 2 days. One of the things that I'm feeling called to invite us to do during this new moon solstice is to come into a new relationship with what that would mean, this supernova. What does a supernova actually signify? The explosion of a star because the energy source that it was feeding itself with has been depleted and no longer exists for it to be fed that way. It expands out, it explodes in this beautiful display of light, and then collapses in upon itself, coming into a new form. Now, depending on the star, it would be a neutrino or a black hole. There's a lot of different ways that this new form takes, unique to each star in its own way. But this is also very much the energy that I'm feeling for us all now. That we are being asked to allow our light to come out into the fullest possible expression, to help create that Big Bang effect. It may create, I'm getting this like nuclear winter. I don't know. I'm sorry about that. But there's going to be a lot of dust up. But the new that's being created is beyond our imagination. Just like we have no idea what a black hole actually is. We do not know, not really, what the new we're creating is. The one thing we do know, it is beyond our wildest dreams. It is beyond our ability to imagine, which is why we don't know what a black hole is either, because it has been beyond our ability to imagine. If we are being asked to explore a reality that takes us beyond the place, takes us to the place beyond which the apparent separation of light and sound exists, that's hard to imagine when you exist in a 3D, 5D sort of world. So, over this new moon and solstice, can you find your inner combustion point, your inner your inner Big Bang, that beautiful soul light. Allow it to be witnessed, to clear out anything that's not true, all of those old ways that you used to run your energy that just are not fitting anymore. They just don't fit. They don't even exist anymore. And through that, discover the new way that you're called to run your energy, the true way that you're called to run your energy, and that way in which it is unending. That was another thing I read recently. Apparently, they thought that black holes would, that there was an end to them, that there was, that they would start to disintegrate like everything else in space appears to. But they're starting to realize now that that actually isn't true. They can't find the mathematical or any other scientific proof that black holes begin to deteriorate. But physics lessons over. I hope that you have brilliant, beautiful, shining, stellar new moon and solstice. If you are already a portal member or if you're called to join, I am very excited to see you from Shasta on the new moon. If you're called to journey with me and explore your soul path together, amazing. Come request a consult. We'll get together and have a little mini light activation for about 30 minutes. That's free, and see where our soul paths might cross. If something hit home, made you say aha or whoa, let me know in the comments. I love to hear from you all. And please do subscribe, like, ring the bell, all of the things, all of the things. And also there will be a link below for the Cosmic Light Drops. It is available now. I love you guys so much, as always, in always, from, through, and beyond all the dimensions.